Hello, it's lovely to be with you wherever you are. And whatever your day looks like or whatever your day has been like, I hope that the next few minutes will be a place of peace for you and a time of reflection. Today's word is learn. My little boy Harris, he's almost 4 years old and he loves to play with character toys up in his room. He has some favourite character toys and they come from the programme Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol is an American programme and naturally they all speak with an American accent. Harris has watched so many programmes of Paw Patrol that when he's up in his room you can hear him change from being a little Scottish boy with a Scottish accent into this American boy with this American accent. He starts to mimic. It's a natural stage for a child of that age to mimic everything that they see around them. He also mimics his mum and dad and his brother and sister. Perhaps he's dropped a bit of yogurt onto his top, or he's fallen to the ground and his hands have got muddy and he looks down at his hand or he looks at his top and out of his mouth comes the phrase, "Oh, gads." He mimics us. He mimics everything that we do. He's at that stage where he sees everything around us and he copies it. It's how he learns. There's a story in the Bible and it comes in Matthew chapter 4 and verse 18, and it says these words: "As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. 'Come, follow me,' Jesus said, 'and I will send you out to fish for people.' At once they left their nets and followed him." At that time, education was so rooted around the Jewish faith and the synagogue. And each child would go to the school at the synagogue and they would learn the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. They would learn them off by heart, and over the next few years they would begin to be able to learn them to a state where they would know it instantly. It was the way in which education was taught at that time. If you were the best of the best, you would continue on your education and learn the whole of the Old Testament. But if you weren't the best of the best, you would join the family business and continue your life working in the family business. Jesus meets these two young men, and what are they doing? They're doing the family business. They're not the best of the best. They have learnt the first 5 books of the Bible, but they don't know anything else. They haven't continued on in their education, and they're doing the family business. But Jesus looks at them, and Jesus is a teacher, a rabbi of the time, and he says, "Come, follow me." He saw something in them that none of the other rabbis saw. He saw in them that they could be people who had something of real worth, even though they weren't the best of the best. There's a phrase that was used about a teacher, a rabbi, someone like Jesus and his disciples. And the phrase was this, that you were covered in the dust of your rabbi. And what this phrase really meant was that because the roads of the time were dusty and dry, that you would follow the teachings of the rabbi so closely, and that you would live with them and be in that close proximity so much that as the rabbi walked and taught you, you would be covered in the dust. But it had a deeper and bigger meaning, and that meaning was that you would learn what that teacher taught you. You would be taught in his ways, and that you would begin to mimic what he taught you. But Jesus was different because he wasn't doing what all the other rabbis were doing. He didn't pick the best of the best because he saw that to mimic would continue on a tradition, but it would be a tradition that was stuck in a certain way. And what we as Christians believe was that Jesus was the Son of God and that he was progressing and bringing forth a new way of understanding who God was, coming out of the tradition but bringing new light to that tradition. And what he taught was that these disciples would be people who would not only just mimic him, but they would take forward his teachings and bring it into new places and do things in new ways that weren't done before. In order for us to be disciples of Jesus, in order for us to be learners of the way, we are to be people that do not just mimic, but that we become people who take the teachings and the traditions and that we teach them and bring them into new places in new ways in order for others to understand the hope that we have, the new life that we have. So today, it is my prayer that we don't end up just being people who mimic others, but that we discover that we are unique people who have a teacher in Jesus that asks us not to mimic, but to go and to find who we are in order that we can share this good news, this new life with others.